Hello everyone, and praise be to Jesus Christ. Today we begin a series of videos on the uncensored history of cosmology. Cosmology is the science that studies the formation of the universe, how it began, then evolved, what are the physical laws that drive it, and what is its distant future. We all know the main points. The Earth is round, it turns on itself in a day, and around the sun in a year. The universe is immensely big and immensely old. We learned all this during our school years, with the added bonus of the history of this science over the centuries. However, as we shall see, as in other fields, this story is only an official and censored version of another, very different but very real one, which is completely unknown to you. I'm going to tell you about it, based on the testimonies of university professors in physics, mathematics, and history. Some have won the Nobel Prize or other prestigious awards. Before presenting this story, I'd like to give you a brief summary of what I learned from the official history of cosmology and the impression it left on me. And we'll finish with the most important thing of all, our ignorance of mathematics. We're off. Here's the official history of cosmology. Part 1. The Ancient Greeks. They observed that the sun and stars seemed to revolve around the earth and the sky. They believed in their mythology with the gods of Olympus. They also had good mathematicians. One of them, Eratosthenes, calculated the circumference of the round Earth. His results are almost identical to those of today's scientists. On the other hand, the philosopher Aristotle believes he has proved that the Earth is immobile. Indeed, if you dropped an object from the top of a tower, it would fall to the foot of the tower. This means that the Earth did not move during the fall. Conclusion: the Earth is round, immobile, and at the center of the universe. The stars, sun, and planets revolve around it. This is geocentrism. But there's a problem. The planets don't travel in circles, but in bizarre trajectories, backwards and forwards. But since they're superstitious and a little ignorant, they don't question themselves and keep their system as it is. Even so, they call these strange objects wandering stars, hence the name planets. 2. The Holy Roman Catholic Church. After several centuries of persecution, the Catholic religion became the state religion. The Pope's advisors persuade him to declare that the Greek system is consistent with the Catholic faith. True, the Earth is not flat, as the Bible suggests, but it is immobile and at the center of the universe. This is compatible with the fact that, by dying and rising again on Earth, Jesus Christ saved the whole of creation. 3. Nicholas Copernicus. This Polish astronomer wrote a revolutionary book, The Sun is at the Center of the Universe. The Earth is merely a planet revolving around it like all the others. Finally, this explains the retrograde movement of the planets in the night sky throughout the year. Fearing reprisals from the Church, he preferred to have his book published after his death. Part 4. Galileo and Giordano Bruno. Galileo was an Italian scientist of the Renaissance. He performs the same experiment as Aristotle with the falling object, except that he placed himself at the top of the mast of a boat traveling at constant speed. He found that the object also fell to the bottom of the mast. Consequently, Aristotle's proof that the object falling from the top of the tower falls to the bottom of the tower was no proof at all. Galileo went one step further. He carried out a large number of experiments in a laboratory on dry land, and then repeated exactly the same experiments in the boat moving at constant speed. And again, he found that the results were exactly the same as in the stationary laboratory on land. As a result, Galileo concluded that there was no experiment that could distinguish between a system that was stationary and one that was in constant motion. And that's very important for the future. From this, he concluded that the Earth must be in motion, and that it is the Earth that revolves around the sun in a year, while turning on itself in a day. He also built astronomical telescopes that enabled him to observe the sky as never before. He discovered several of Jupiter's satellites. He wrote this in a successful book. The Church, which was very powerful at the time, was very upset and sued him to force him to give up his theory of the Earth in motion. However, the Church had already condemned and burned another scientist, Giordano Bruno, who had carried out much the same experiments and who thought like Galileo. Galileo took fright and recanted. But deep down, he was convinced that the Earth rotated and moved. Part 5. Kepler. This German astronomer clarified the movement of the planets around the sun. They don't rotate in circles, but in ellipses. An ellipse is like a squash circle with two centers, called foci. The sun lies on one of them. 6. Newton. This English scientist suddenly discovered the law of universal gravitation, which governs the entire universe. It was as simple as an apple falling near him while he was resting under a tree, with the moon visible in the sky. This gave him the revelation that the moon revolving around the Earth, the apple falling, and the planets revolving around the sun are one and the same phenomenon. Bodies attract each other with a force proportional to their mass and inversely proportional to the square of their distance. This fundamental law is still used today to send rockets and satellites into space. That's all for now. In the next video, we'll take a look at the theories of the great Einstein and NASA's fantastic exploits. But you can find out all about it right away, if you understand French, by buying my book, La Vérité Immutable et l'erreur scandaleuse, on Amazon.fr for $25. Thank you for listening. And don't forget to subscribe, like and share this video with your friends.